Start to relate to the bowl of the hips as an actual reservoir or energy bank or energy battery. And every time you breathe in, you're feeding that energy bank. You're sending current into that battery. That is what's happening. So that other concept besides Dantian that I'm bringing in here is sinking qi. Sinking qi is a major principle, concept, and activity. And in fact, as far as health and building health, sinking qi is the most important process. Sinking qi. We'll get more into that, but simply by breathing deep down into the abdomen, into the bowl of the hips, you're sinking qi. Thinking with your mind that you're pressing the breath down into the bowl of the hips, you're sinking the qi. The mind leads the qi. So over the next little while, notice when your breathing becomes tight or shallow or high. Let me start again. Over the next few weeks, notice where you reside. Notice what your default setting is and where your default setting is. Do you tend to congregate in a certain part of, you tend to exist in a certain part of your body, your head or your emotions or a certain part of your body? Notice what your default setting is. Notice what your pattern is, physically, energetically, mind-wise. And also in terms of time, try to be aware of yourself. How much energy and time do you spend in past, even if that's just moments ago? And how much of you is in the future? Noticing where your default setting is, what your locus of attention is. When you notice when you're off, because you will be off, because there's very few, if anybody, who's in the here and now. When you notice where you are or when you are, come back to abdominal breathing. And even if you have 3 seconds, only 3 seconds, make the in-breath more expansive and the out-breath more complete, and sink your mind deeper into the bowl of the hips. Okay. Any comments or questions with that?
So maybe just a question about, the challenging thing about working with most practices and breath practices is like, it's like there's this impossible bar of doing it all the time. And even if you're good for a day or two, then it stops happening with that kind of concerted focus. So do you have suggestions about what are some reasonable ways to come back to this? Because there's, especially this time, there can be a lot of things either happening internally or happening externally that just take you entirely away from this universe of practice.
Yeah, one of my first, or probably the first go-to suggestion I offer people is setting your watch or your clock, your computer to beep every hour. And I don't know if there's a setting that could be less than every hour. And if there is, then use that. But at the very least, in every hour, no matter what's happening, you're reminded to notice again, where's your locus of attention? What am I doing? Where am I doing? And then come back, recenter, reintegrate. So very simple tactic is have a little alarm, just dings every hour at least. It is an ongoing process to develop the skill to stay self-aware. So it's like any other skill. You keep coming back to it. To tell you the truth, more organically, to me, what the secret is, or what the linchpin is to this actually occurring often enough And so we're not always just forgetting, and it's been now a whole day, I haven't thought of it. It's been days now, I haven't thought of it. For me, more organically, and this is kind of, I think we touched upon this the first session, is what is this about for you? How important is this for you? How much do you dedicate yourself to yourself? How impassioned are you? How important is this? Make this important enough that you can't forget about it. You make it that important. It's so easy for us to not do that, even when it's about me, even if when it's about yourself. We know how easily we're taken out of ourselves by today's society. Everything pulls us out of ourselves. Everything's material and sensational. Everything pulls us out of ourselves. And of course, we have all the other conditioning, especially for women, to not take care of self, perhaps. So it's kind of written in the program. So we have to see that, recognize that. And even if we have all that programming, all that internal programming, if you decide how important this is for you, that's the only way. So for example, let me give you a quick example of that. I gave a simple tactic of setting clock to ring, whether it's on your watch or on the computer. Very simple to do. I mean, it's not, even if you don't know how to set that on your computer yet, you can Google it in 5 minutes, you'll know how to do it. So why aren't you doing it? Something as simple as setting a clock to ding every hour. Unless you already know, well, I don't need that every hour because I'll be doing it more than every hour, then that's a different thing. But what I'm pointing out is how we will not do things for ourselves. So someone is going, well, no, I never did set that clock and I didn't get around to ever thinking about this too much. Well, why not? So it's up to the person to make this important enough. And it's up to the person to see how important this is and decide that this is important for me. And so it's the priority. So it'll be put on the shelf like everything else because there's so much. Will you give to yourself? Will you honor yourself? Will you reclaim yourself? Will you give yourself permission to make this important? And it's you making it important. And it's you making it important for your reasons. And then are you willing to honor that for yourself? That cuts through all the tactics, right? Then you'll come up with tactics to do it.